Hello folks, welcome to another video. Let's switch this thing on and just have done with it. The dial lights are on. I am on the variac and I'm at full power. So let's see what we get. Let's turn it down a bit. Well, it's the medium wave.
But I didn't know that it was fucking choke next as well. Another game where they don't start with.
I think we're at the end of the tuner there now. No, we're not even halfway around. Let's pull the string because it snapped, didn't it?
Seen a really big uptake in people in glass bottles.
I can't get it past that. That's right down the bottom of the band. We don't find fuck all.
Is in support of political prisoners. By using drugs.
And that's the end of the tuner. Let's move to the FM. FM. Hang on. A lot of crap in that switch. Don't think that's fucking moving. No. No, there's no aerial on it either. Let's just try and see. Is that valve getting warm? No aerial on the FM. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Nothing. Let's just get the selector knob out of the radiogram. I can give it a couple of... Oh, fucking hell. That was me slamming the lid. I can give it a couple of jiggles then, you see. Let's just put this knob on. That's gram. Long wave, medium wave. See, there's no aerial on it. There's the aerial there. There's nothing there. Oh. Let's move it down to where radio 2 will normally be, which is wonder if the WC85 is Duff. Just turn it off a minute. See if we can get this cord clamp out of here. Let me get this. I mean, nothing's humming or running too. Oh, that audio valve's red hot. What I want to do is get the let me just, I need to rig up some sort of an aerial. Bear with me, I'll be back in a minute. Right, let's see if we get the FM this time. I put a crude aerial in there. There you are. Just need an aerial, see? There we are.
The next one's the big win. The next one's the big win. And you can go up, down, and over.
At the computer on your own.
From now The freeze on wages for austerity. I mean, basically, the fiscal position of the country is still screwed. I mean, that's the gist of it. You know, the fact that I've been thrown away. Finances. Serenade by Lennox Brown, and it's actually the flip side of a song by Winston Scotland, or a DJ track by Winston Scotland, chanting early rap, if you like. And when I was listening to it, I realised.
See, there's no hum there at all. Unless I touch the knobs.
Serenade, a melody.
So the FM does work, folks.
It's original, the Tommy.
That's AM. Let's have a look at the long wave. I don't mind if that don't work, is now on it.
Could get my
It does.
an insurance broking down.
Radio 4.
Television screen and
That's all you get on
screen
there.
and a roulette game. It sounds so depressing.
Oh, it is. You know, that word is a brilliant word because when you look.
The what do you call it works as well. Hold on. I can't wait to get this tuning string done.
No, there's so many adverts on TV for it. It seems a lot of people do it.
Just turn this light off a
What
minute,
they've
phone.
normalised is what breaks my heart the most, because it's our young people who are being affected. They're the most adept at smartphone technology. They're the ones that respond to the adverts. I'll go to schools frequently, and in schools we'll ask them a question, and we're talking about 15, 16-year-olds, years before it's even legal, and many of them, maybe even up to half and sometimes more, already have gambling apps on their smartphones.
Now, you were found out by your wife from the bank statements, you said, but was there not a moment before? There must have been you had done something so atrocious in family terms that you had to stop. I'm wondering what makes people stop. When do you...
Right. Well, all wave bands work, folks. That's the radio done. I've recapped it. I've not shown you me recapping it because you've seen me recap a radio before, and I've seen other people do it, so you didn't need to see it, so I didn't think you did. But if you do want the evidence, there's one very sweaty wax paper capacitor, one hunt, or cunts as we used to call them, still do, and one electrolytic, a Plessy electrolytic. There was two of those. I can't find the other one, you have to take my word for it, folks. But that's all I've replaced is 3 capacitors, because that's all it needed. I've got to spray all the switches yet. I've cleaned the dial. I've cleaned the dial lens, the glass. I've cleaned, and it is proper glass. This, none of your plastic crap here. And I've cleaned all behind here. I do want to replace the dial lamps because they're a bit black. They look a bit black. They've discoloured, but they're still working. Let's turn the soldering iron off. I don't need that. Well, the power to it anyway. Turn this off here, the variac. I don't need that. Oh, and I've also replaced. I've done my usual, and I've replaced the power lead with one with a moulded plug, and that's it, folks. On the next time you'll see this, you've seen me look at it. You haven't seen me work on this. I've just not felt the need. for you to see me, because when I restring it, I'll let you see that, and you can see me get all frustrated. How about that one? That'll make up for you not seeing me muck about the capacitors. When I do the restring, then I'll show you me doing the restring. Unless, of course, I take drastic measures. And someone asked me what the claw hammer was for in one of the comments. It's brute force and ignorance. That's what the claw hammer's for. It's for brute force and ignorance. Anyway, folks, you all have a lovely evening. Enjoy the video. The radio works. I'm very, very happy with it. It certainly works better than it did yesterday. You know, I can't get over how pleased I am, and all I've got to do is spray the switches. You don't need to see me do that. With a bit of luck, the string will arrive. That's why I was pulling it at the top here, because I can't turn it very well here. But I'll be giving that tuning knob that tuning control a good clean, the drum a good clean, and I'll be what are you calling it? I'll be restringing the radio when the dial code arrives, so that should be fun. You won't want to miss it. Having a good laugh at me trying to restring a radio, that's bound to be funny, innit, folks? So you got to laugh, haven't you? Anyway, you know, I could have saved myself the time if it got so far and stopped. And then I forced it. If I'd have, while it was in the cabinet, if I'd have taken it out of the cabinet, I'd have seen where it was playing up, and I could have stopped it tangling, and I might not have snapped the string. But having said that, I didn't really put that much force on it, so it could have been, you know, it might have been on the verge of going anyway. But anyway, nevertheless, it went, and I tied a knot in it, just so I could generally just so I didn't have to put my hand behind here, and that could confuse results with the aerial. So I didn't want to do that. But yeah, we're all up and running. It's I'm happy with that. I mean, it's a 1950s radio. About 1957, 59, around that region. Between them regions, it was made. Now, you show me a Japanese, you know, come back in 50 years with a Chinese radio and show me working. I don't bloody think so. Anyway, these modern DAB radios, nobody will be collecting them. You know, does DAB? Is it raining? Yeah. Does DAB still exist? I think I've actually got a DAB Sony DAB tuner, and I'm really seriously considering putting it on eBay. It was a very expensive tuner when it was bought, and it's hardly been used. That's how much I think of DAB. But it's AM FM as well, and I don't really listen to the radio in there. I don't really do much of anything in the front room. The reason for that is because I'm always in here. I even eat my meals in here. My plate's there on the side. You know, my pizza tray and my hot chocolate cup and everything else. I do it all in here. I mean, I only live in this one room. I mean, I sleep in my bedroom. But I spend all my time in here because I enjoy being in here. Everything I like's in here. Everything I want to mess with's in here. You know, if I was sat in there, I don't even have a cup. I don't even sit in the front room on the morning and have my first cup of coffee or tea. I come in here, turn the computer on, and I sit down. And you know, to most people, this might be the most uncomfortable seat you can imagine. But to me, it's the most comfortable seat in the world because it's where I enjoy being. It's where I feel most comfortable. And, you know, I suppose I'm a typical Englishman because if I had a shed, I'd be in there. And I'd be in there now. And I'd never come out unless I absolutely had to. You know, and I know that because when I was married, I had a shed. And I spent all my time in there. And You know, I don't know. I just love it. I love being on my own, I think. Getting things done and messing with this lot. You know, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was. There was something on my mind I was going to bring up in the video. But don't worry, I'm not going to be sick. But yeah, the tuning eye works. It's very weak though. So, you know, and it's one of those, what do you call it ones? I can't remember the exact number. It's oh fucking hell. Now I've mentioned it, I'm going to have to fucking tell you. It's one of those that like a fan shape sort of thing. Here it is. That's if the number hasn't rubbed off. EMR1. It's an EMR1 tuning indicator. It's basically a VU meter, isn't it? An early version of a VU meter. That's what they are, really. And basically, I might have a look because I've got a load. I've got a load of the other ones that just produce two fine lines. You know, that close together. I can't remember what number they are, but I think they're an EM1 or something fucking stupid. I'll have to have a look and see if I can replace it or rewire the socket even to take one of those. I mean, when it was new, this is no cheap radiogram when it was new. I mean, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 valves in it, including a rectifier. You know, so it's like, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and including the rectifier. So there's actually 6 valves that that produce the signal for either the gram or the radio, and there's a volume control which goes onto the side of the cabinet. I can't say I'm happy like that with that like that, but that's how the manufacturers designed it. That's where they wanted to put it. And I'm really happy at the way that I'm really happy at the way, folks, that the radiogram has actually turned out, that the radio chassis has turned out. It's cleaned up really well. And like I say, it wasn't a cheap item that when it was new. That would have been a fairly expensive unit because the amplifier's well made, and it's even got a tweeter. It's got a 5x10 oval speaker, and it's also got a tweeter in there as well. I mean, they thought something about the sound. Even though it's mono, they still considered the fact that it, you know, it should have a decent, at least an half decent sound, and it does. It's not bad. But there again, a lot of radiograms sounded nice, much nicer than the, you know. I remember, I'll just tell you this. I remember years ago when I was a kid, I was about 12, and my mum bought this radiogram off a woman round the corner. Her name was Linda. I think her name was, yeah, it was. Name was Linda, and she was a ginger piece. I had an ex-girlfriend called Linda that was ginger, but not the same one. Anyway, she bought this music centre. Well, a week before she got a music centre delivered, my mum mentioned this radiogram to me. She said, Linda round there is selling a radiogram. I don't know anything about it, you know, will you come round? So I says, yeah. So I went round, and it was a beautiful looking thing. It was a GEC. I can't remember the model, but bloody hell, man, what a sound. It had a 4-wave band radio, and the only shortcoming was its BSR record deck. Because if they'd have chucked a Garrard in, they would have had it all. Anyway, this Linda wanted 40 quid for this thing. So I says to my mum, I said, well, it's worth it. And it did sound really nice. I switched it on while I was there, and put a record on, and I had to listen to the radio and stuff. And I said, yes, that's really nice. That's not bad. it's well worth the money, I think. So anyway, my mum went ahead and gave her the money for it. And she says, is it okay if I hang on to it until next week? So my mum says, yeah. Anyway, what a problem. And anyway, the following week, she lived right behind us. So she shouted at my mum for bushes. She says, Claire, she says, you come and get your radiogram if you like. So me and my mum went round with, I can't remember who else, a friend of mine, I think. And we carried it round. I mean, if there'd been a gate joined us, we could have just brought it through the back. But we couldn't, we had to carry it round. Anyway, we got it round. And before we left, the woman says, she says, she had a new music centre. She says, what do you think of my music centre? I can't remember what music centre it was, but I think I said to her, she didn't like what I said, I don't think. I said I'd have kept the GEC, love. It really was that good. I said, yeah, love, I'd have kept the GEC, you know, because what she bought was crap. I mean, most of them music centres were shit. The only good ones, all the British made ones they were all crap. And I know someone's going to come on and say this and that, but you know, you can come on and you can say that, you're entitled to your opinion. But in my opinion, the only good music centres were the Japanese ones. Because all the British ones, all the Fidelities and Amstrads and all that, even them Amstrads, them tower system things that Alan Sugar was knocking out, they were all made in Japan. They were all made in Japan. They were or they were made in Japan or Taiwan, and they were only assembled. It said on the back of the box, on the back of the case, on the back of the cabinet, made in England, but they weren't in Great Britain. But they weren't. They were only assembled there. He bought them in and assembled them here. I mean, he bought them by the thousands. The cabinet, they came in as component bits. Ready assembled, but with no cabinets, and he built the cabinets were made here, and that's the only part of them that were, and they were made out of the shittest. But I mean, if you farted next to one, it'd blow a hole inside of it. But the old Amstrads, I said to her, you should have kept the GEC, love. She didn't like that. I just insulted her new music centre. I can't remember what music centre it was. I'm not even going to hazard a guess because I just can't remember. But it was that was the late 70s, about 77, mid to late 70s, about 77, 78, when my mum bought that. But it was worth 40 quid, and the problem was, a couple of years later, when my mum and dad bought something better, with a cassette deck on it, you know, they couldn't sell it, so they give it away to a friend and a family, and I don't know where it went, but I'd love to get hold of it, you know, or another one exactly the same as it. Oh, they're beautiful machines, sounded really good. Anyway, I think they had tweeters in them and all, but they were massive. Took up one wall of your living room near enough. They weren't small, but they looked good and they sounded good, and you know the top came down dead slow, like this thing here. The top had it had a damper, and it came down, and it sort of like made a noise as it came down. You know, but that was it anyway, folks. Thanks for watching. And more to come later. Bye for now.